Hi everyone, my name is Miss Berry and I'm here today to talk to you about writing and the writing process and writing strategies and how you can help your kid along the way at home. Alrighty, so I am going to start by sharing my screen. So here you go. Hi, my face is in the corner and here we go. Okay, so this is all about understanding the writing process and how you can help your child at home. Why should I not spell words for my child to write? And how to help your child as they learn to write. Just like we clapped when they took their first steps and fell, we celebrate when they try to write in each stage. They didn't run when they were born. They do not write like an adult when they are 5. These are some of the stages of writing. We start out with just pictures, and then we move into random scribbling, and then scribble writing, which is scribbles in linear lines. Then we have symbols that represent letters, kind of scattered about. Random letters, so now we know letters is equivalent to words and we're writing letters. Then we have letter strings. They progress and they go left to right. So then we have strings of letters. Then we have letter groups. So now it's just random letters with spaces in between. And then environmental print, which is where they found these words. Like I found the number and I wrote it. Or I looked in a book and I copied it. Or it's something I copied. So these are the very beginning stages of writing. There's more, but first, the picture stage. Pictures are writing. Pictures are writing. That's why it's super important that we have the kids draw with their journals. So how to help if your child is still in the picture stage, if they are just drawing pictures and they're not doing any writing of letters or scribbles yet. So if your child's pictures are difficult to understand, you can help them to think about shapes and parts of things. For example, imagine your child wants to tell about when they went horseback riding. Talk about how a horse looked. What parts did it have? It had a body, great. What shape might you draw for a body? What parts are attached to a body? What shape could you make for a head? How many legs does it have? Was the tail longer than the body? Did it go down to the legs? What else was there besides the horse? So like background, like trees or a barn. This is context that help people understand the picture better. The green grass certainly gives more information as well. Pictures are writing too. How to help in the scribbling through environmental print stage. Talk about your child's writing with them. Have them read to you what they wrote. They point out what letters or words they use. Help them, like when they're reading what they wrote, have them try and read from left to right. That'll kind of get them to start going in the direction left to right, and then top to bottom, and then adding spaces in their words. After environmental print, we have in the inventive spelling stages. So first we start with just beginning sounds. Okay, we write like a 1 sentence. And we have the mix of sight words with beginning sounds. The and can in the horse can run are sight words. Horse, you can see we have and run, so we have that first sound. Then we continue into early inventive spelling, which usually has more than 1 sound per word, like went. I hear wind, usually beginning and middle sound, beginning and ending sound, and then again, those sight words are still there. Then inventive spelling, so they're adding beginning, middle, and ending sounds and some additional sounds that they learn. This is kind of inventive spelling here. This is kind of advanced end of kindergarten, beginning of 1st grade. And then transitional writing is end of 1st grade, 2nd grade. So how to help in the beginning sounds stage. How to help in the beginning sounds. Start by encouraging your kids to label their picture. So let's think about that horse picture. Does your child know what letter makes the sound that starts with horse? They can put an H next to the picture. Do they know the letter that makes the sound that starts with grass? Then they can label the grass with that letter. Can they hear any other sounds if you say the word slowly? Like horse. I hear H, R, and S. Those are the sounds I hear based off of just knowing the alphabet sounds. But if they don't know any more than just the first sound, that's it for now, and they're in the beginning sound stage. So what is inventive spelling? Sometimes called invented spelling. It's the practice of spelling unfamiliar words with an educated guess based on phonetic knowledge. That means they can spell using the sounds of the letters that they know at that time. Like right now in our class, it's the middle of October in 2020, and we've learned M, A, S, T, and N. So those would be sounds like if I were writing something and they had a word that started with that, I would want them to be able to write a word like net, and just an N is great. Or mouse, just an M. Any of those letters that we've learned, okay? Now, any extra letters that they happen to also know at the time, great. But it's based on the phonetic knowledge, which is sounds of letters. I was just guessing for the most part. So why do we have inventive spelling? It's necessary because in English, letters don't have one specific sound like we do in many languages. There's so many rules that they're going to have to learn. Some we never learn, and some we use but don't even know how we know them. Should your child wait until they know all the rules or memorize every word they might use before they can write? No. This is why we have inventive spelling. For example, your child cannot spell ice cream as ISCM or ISKM. Ice, cream, cream, first sound, last sound. How can they tell the story about when they went to the ice cream truck? If they know they can't spell ice cream, they won't want to write about it. They will write, I love mom, over and over again. They will draw rainbows and houses over and over again, and they're going to be stuck in the environmental print stage. So here's our promise. If you let them go through the process of inventive spelling, they will not be spelling ice cream as ISCM when they are in high school. They will learn more rules of the English language, such as silent E, and they will see these words often enough for them to become sight words. They'll just know it. And if they're reading, they'll start recognizing words from what they're reading or so what someone's reading to them, and they'll start trying to write those. They will learn. We're just at the beginning. But there must be words that my kid should spell correctly. Yes, sight words. Reading and writing fluency are built when kids have a lot of sight words right at their fingertips. So what are sight words? Sight words, also known in our kindergarten class, are rainbow words. Sight words are words your kid can recognize and read without sounding them out. So like if I look at this word see, S-E-E, yes, I could technically sound that word out, but what I want to do with my sight words or rainbow words is basically like a flashcard. I show the word see and I put it down. I don't want to sit there and sound it out. So sight words, because they can't really be sounded out. That's what the idea. We want to know it. That's the fluency part. Some words must be sight words because they can't be sounded out, like in kindergarten, like the word the. I can't sound out the. It does not make the same sounds as what I see it as. Some words become sight words because they're important and they write them often, like their name, mom, dad, or love. So when they write them often enough, it becomes a sight word because they know it, okay? We're teaching sight words every week. As words are added, they become words that you encourage your child to spell correctly whenever possible, but not by spelling it for them. Remind them this is a sight word or a word wall word. Remind them where you have them available to look at. So in our classroom, I do have the words posted up around our room for our kids to look at. For example, I have do and not, which we're learning this week, behind me. These words are up. I suggest you take your rainbow cards. You can make sticky notes. You can use just the red, orange, yellow as we go on cards. Have them nearby. When your kid is writing or reading, have those sight word cards out, because sometimes it's easier for them to know what the word is if they're learning it on that red card. They might pick it up and go, oh, that's the word the, and then they point to it in their story, the, or like, oh, that's the, and then they take that card and then they write it down. So you can use those cards to help them while they're learning, have them accessible to help them if they already don't know how to read it or spell it when they're writing. At least have it nearby so they can reference the material and pull it out to help them. So how to help with inventive spelling. So have your child say the word slowly. Stretchy snake, stretching the word out. Your child should listen for as many sounds as they can. Now remember, I only expect them to write sounds that we know, that we've learned. If I haven't learned about the letter H, I don't expect everyone to write an H for horse. They might just write S, because S is what we've learned, and they know S, 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 S. Okay, so just know inventive spelling also comes with how much phonetic knowledge that the kid has based off of what we've taught and what they've learned. Okay, so think about that. Okay. So mostly we start with beginning sounds. We've been pulling out our beginning sounds. Then we usually add the last sound, because if I'm stretching out, ooh, H, horse, H, and then horse, I hear the S. And then we'll slowly start adding in the middle sounds. Horse, I can hear that R. I hear H, R, and S. So if my kid is at the stage where they're just writing H, great. If they're writing HS, awesome. If they're writing HRS and that's where we are, fantastic. It's wherever your child is at. Not every kid is in the same writing stage. Just like not everyone learned to walk at the same age. Not everyone loses their teeth at the same age or same time. Okay, writing and reading is the same way. It all depends on the kid. Okay. So we usually, around the middle end of the year is where we end up first, middle, last. So we started around when we left school last year, March, is when we were breaking apart 3 sound words like cat, k, at. And so they would listen for the 3 sounds and then they could write the 3 sounds. But we had learned all the letter sounds at that point. Okay. Then we have adding vowel sounds. Vowel sounds like in horse, O-R makes a different sound, so I wouldn't necessarily expect them to know like the O. Okay, but like in cat, I hear ah, and usually vowels are harder for us to hear. They're also harder to distinguish, like E and I, E, I, eh, eh. They're really hard to distinguish and listen. So vowels usually come at the end of the year. And things like adding the E don't come until they learn about silent E, or they've read books about horses and they know when they read that sentence back to you, wait, that doesn't look like horse. I've read about horses. I know there's an E at the end. So that's where reading and writing go hand in hand. Sound it out. What does sound it out mean? Many families repeatedly tell kids to sound it out when reading. But this is also what you need to do when they're learning to write. Stretch out the sounds. I'm going to do a different presentation about helping reading, and spoiler alert, sound it out is at the bottom of the list. But am I backtracking? If you've been spelling entire sentences for your child for a while now, it may seem strange to backtrack to just beginning sounds and one-word labels. But it's important for your child to go through the stage so they can write on their own. The goal is for your child to write independently. So if you let them start now, if your child knows any sounds of the letters, they are ready. And we've already learned 5, so they are ready. They can write all by themselves. You're not going to write for them. They're not going to copy off of you. You're not going to spell for them. They are going to write their sight words and sounds they hear. Okay? Help us help your child. If you do the spelling for them, if you do any of their work for them, we don't know what your kids' strengths and weaknesses are. If we don't know what their strengths and weaknesses are, I can't teach them. If you do something for them, it appears like they can do it. Then I won't teach them how to do that thing, especially during assessments. Please do not help beyond tech support, reading directions. This goes for all assignments as well. I know it's hard, but we've talked about productive struggle and letting your kid go through it on their own, and that's what's going to help them. You can ask supporting questions, reading directions, help clarifying what they need to do. Like, what do you think you should do? What do you remember Miss Barry saying? That kind of stuff. But yes, if you do any of the work for them, I think, wow, they already know that. I don't need to teach it to them. And then when we come back to school in person and they have to do it, their grades might drop because they actually don't know how to do it. They only know that you know how to do it. They don't know how. They know you know, but they don't actually know how to do it. And then they're not going to get the chance to learn because we will have moved past it. But no one can read what my child wrote. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. Drawings can be really helpful clues. Please don't discredit the importance of drawing when your kid is writing. Think of all those wonderful picture books that role models are writing for them. As magical as the deciphering skills of us kindergarten teachers can be, if you know what your kid is trying to write, please let the teacher know in the comments when submitting an assignment, using quotes or having your kid read it for me, like using the caption tool. They read it to me. It's very important that they become able to read their own writing. They might not be able to at first, especially if it was written hours before, but we will work on reading back what we wrote. How can I help on every assignment and in every stage? Set them up for success with the tools they need. Help them organize and plan. Help them read and understand directions and expectations. Encourage them to do their best. Most importantly, read what they have written. Writing something without reading it is like baking cookies without someone eating them. I have a few additional resources that I will post as needed. Okay, I have another view of the evolution of a child's writing. This is more kindergarten into first grade based. This is a website called Author to Author. It's basically a website with a bunch of videos about experts in the writing field helping parents and families at home with the writing process. Here's a video by Matt Glover about supporting spelling at home, which just reiterates just an expert's point of view on what we're saying here. I'm ready to write, so making sure that we're in the physical position ready to write, you know, seat pulled in, feet on the floor, how to hold the paper, pencil grip. I also included a video here. It's called How to Hold a Pencil Easy for Kids with Allie the Alligator, in case you notice your kid is holding the pencil maybe like this or up here or, you know, strange combinations and stuff, because this is what we want, all right? This is what we want. Just a few reminders on how to be an academic coach as well. It's what we talked about at Miss Barry's back to school night. And then just remember, it takes 3. Each person has 33.3333% of having your child's learning grow. I only have a third. You have a third. And your kid has a third. Each of us have to do our part to help make sure that the growth and learning just zoom right up. And thank you. Thank you for coming and thank you for listening. I hope that this was very informational. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to message me on Dojo. If you are watching this and you don't happen to be in my class, my email is kira.hobbs@lausd.net. And you can email me and I will send you resources and videos and things that will help you. Once again, all we want is the best, and this is some of the best way to help your kid with writing, and I hope it was informational. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks for listening. Bye.